Welcome, mini racer Lydia Walmsley. Thank you so very much for coming on the show and getting involved. But how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to the racing to continue this season. But I imagine it's been a fairly long off season for you this year.
Yeah, it has been. To be fair, the race season finished a lot later than it usually does. Last year, I had my last round in December, so it hasn't actually been too bad. Usually, we finish sort of September, October time, which means that the winter series is so long. But yeah, it's been quite good. We've only just started testing this week, so I have been out of the car for quite a long time, but raring to get going again and cannot wait to get started.
Yeah, I was going to ask how did testing go? You said you have been out recently, but yeah, how did it go?
It was absolutely amazing. I'm learning the JCW now. It's a new car to me, so there's a lot to learn. It's a huge step from the Cooper that I've been racing for a number of years now, and it's just been amazing. We had a few niggles with the car. It didn't go particularly smoothly, but I learned the basics of the car, and it was a good starting point for us to build upon, and it was fantastic. I mean, the JCW is nothing like I've ever driven before. It's absolutely amazing. It's a completely different animal to what I've been used to. So it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, how different is the JCW Mini to the Cooper you'd been previously driving? Are there sort of some big noticeable differences between the two of them?
Pretty much, apart from the fact that it's front wheel drive, pretty much absolutely everything is
Yeah.
is different. It's so much quicker. It's got double the horsepower. I mean, even I was shocked coming out of the pit lane, to be honest with you. It's completely different. It's got a limited slip diff, which is obviously something new to learn. Sequential gearbox as well. I'm obviously only used to the H pattern gearbox in the Cooper. So yeah, it's completely new, and it's just you've got to be aware the whole time. It's not like the Cooper where everything is cool, calm, and collected. It's on the limit the whole time, and you've got to be fully concentrating all the time because it's so lively on the rear end. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be good to have a new challenge up ahead. What would you say you most look forward to about the new season up ahead?
Well, I've joined BTC Racing as their young driver development program, which is obviously a fantastic opportunity. I've got a 3-year deal with them, so I'm just looking forward to joining their team, learning as much as possible. I think I'm not setting unrealistic expectations for this season. Obviously, I know it's such a big step, so I'm not expecting to go in and set the world alight immediately. I'm just looking to gain as much experience as possible and hopefully just progress. I have no idea where I'll step in at on the grid. So wherever that is on the first race weekend, I just hope to keep progressing weekend by weekend and see where we end up at the end of the year. Obviously, I'll be a rookie this season, so maybe setting our eyes on the rookie title, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when did you actually get into motorsport, and were you always a fan?
Well, I've watched my dad race from a very young age. He used to race on the ovals, so he sort of kind of got me into it at 7 years old in little Bambino go-karts at Buckmore Park, and it just sort of took off from there. I mean, I was always very much into motorsport due to my dad. I used to watch it every Sunday, every Sunday the touring cars on ITV4, and was just always very much into motorsport. Probably didn't ever expect to be where I am now in motorsport. Certainly when I was 7 years old at Buckmore, didn't think that I'd be racing on national circuits. Only 14 years old when I started racing cars on the national circuits. I mean, it's been such a journey. But yeah, it's always been about motorsport, and yeah, it has been such a journey, and it's been a great one.
Yeah, absolutely. You obviously mentioned you started in karting, but you went to the Junior Saloon Car Championship, started your, I suppose, circuit racing career. Would you recommend them as a championship to start? Because I think we are very lucky now to have so many different junior championships with the Ginetta championships. But yeah, it seems like a really cool championship to be a part of.
Absolutely, and the grid numbers are so fantastic as well, and it's a great foundation to learn your racecraft in. I mean, the Citroen Saxos, you could sort of go to your local scrap yard and pick up the bits and pieces that you needed. It wasn't like the Ginetta where if you have a bit of a coming together on one of those, it's thousands of pounds to fix. So it was a great cost-effective way to learn racecraft, and it was fantastic. I only spent a year in it actually, moved on pretty quickly, but it was just a great foundation. And also being front wheel drive, it was great to learn the foundations of front wheel drive as well in a pretty low powered car. I mean, everything, when you move to circuit racing, from going from karting to circuit racing, it's just such a massive step, because you've gone from a little go-kart track to a huge like Silverstone, which is such a daunting experience really. So to do it in a Citroen Saxo, which isn't too quick but it's quick enough, is great, and it's obviously a fantastic platform to move on from as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I guess it's a good opportunity to learn the circuits as well.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the Citroen Saxos went absolutely everywhere. We went up to Knockhill, we went to Pembrey and Wales. I mean, we went absolutely everywhere. I think they had about 10 weekends a year, which is obviously quite a lot for circuit racing. Usually you only have about 7 or 8. So yeah, certainly travelled the UK that year, and yeah, went to most of the, in fact, I think we went to every circuit that we usually race at, which is obviously great as well. I mean, we were in the car quite a lot, which is so important. At only 14, obviously you're not driving on the road yet, so it's important to be in the car as much as possible. And yeah, just learnt all the circuits, got lots of data and footage which you can always take on into what you do next.
And what was your favourite circuit to race at in the junior saloon cars?
It was actually Rockingham. My favourite circuit has always been Rockingham. I'm going to have to pick a new one now, obviously, because it's closed. Everyone always says, "What's your favourite circuit?" And I'm like, Rockingham, and it's shut. But yeah, I loved Rockingham. I think the banking was fantastic, and when you have sort of 28 Citroen Saxos all bunched together going around the banking for the first time, it's quite an experience. And it's got a bit of everything, Rockingham. So I always enjoyed that. And we went quite well there, so it was a shame when I saw it shut. I was really gutted.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was sort of on the bucket list for me as a spectator, obviously. You know, because I like sort of oval racing and NASCAR and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was a real shame when it was announced that it shut down, but it was definitely a cool circuit.
Yeah, it's such a facility as well. Like the grandstands and everything. I mean, I don't think you ever, particularly apart from Silverstone, you don't particularly turn up to a circuit and have such a facility as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a waste really to see it being sort of car storage now, isn't it? But hopefully it comes back as a race circuit soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously you started in the junior saloon cars. Was the aim always to go in sort of a tin top style of racing in terms of the direction of your racing career?
Yeah, definitely. I think I mean I'd love to have a go in a single seater, but I don't think racing one is probably the route that I've always looked towards. I think I always watched touring cars from a very young age, so that was always very much my a bit of a passion for me really. I obviously watched F1, but I think the route to that is much more difficult, and I think you have to be a lot luckier to get to top level when such as F1, Formula 2. I think tin tops is a lot more accessible just because of the route that you can go down with British Motorsport. So yeah, I think it's always been tin tops, but I would love to have a go in a single seater one day perhaps. But yeah, tin tops for me, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Mini Challenge is a great championship. You know, when did you decide to move to them, and how did that really come about? Really, when you're, I suppose, picking a championship to compete in, what comes into consideration as well?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there's so many championships, isn't there? So it's always difficult to pick the right one for you. I think I turned 16, and obviously you can start competing in senior motorsport at 16. So we made the step into senior racing as soon as possible. And I think we chose the Mini Challenge because it's got a pathway. Obviously you can step into the Mini Cooper, which is what we did, and then the next logical step is the Mini JCW, which is all under the Mini Challenge umbrella. And then obviously the next step logically with that is touring cars. And I think we always saw that ladder. We saw the progression. The Mini Cooper had slick tyres, which is obviously a good starting point. And at 16, learning to drive on slick tyres and already learning that skill is very beneficial. And it was just fantastic. I mean, I think when I was 16, we knew that it would be joining the TOCA package at some point, which is obviously another bonus. And the platform that's given me has been fantastic. And being on the TOCA package has given me so much promotion. And yeah, it was definitely the right the right championship for us. Obviously, it's local to us as well. The championship is based
Yeah.
in Eye, and we were in Ipswich. So yeah, it was just, I think it was the right decision for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the Toka package, because it must be a really good thing for sponsors, especially, and a really good draw, because the amount of brilliant coverage we get on social media, and obviously on ITV4 live all day on race days must be great for things like sponsors.
It's brilliant, honestly. It's the best for British motorsport, really, isn't it? I mean, you can sit down all day on Sunday, like you said, and watch classic British racing, which is just brilliant. And for sponsors, it's such a draw. Everything's about TV these days, and to buy an advert on TV is a lot of money, but to buy a space on the car, which is effectively similar to an advert, is a much more cost effective for sponsors. And so it is brilliant. And for me personally as well, the amount of engagement I got from people watching as well was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, my first round was Alton last year on the Toka package, and I mean, I think my following doubled within about 20 minutes after the race. It was unbelievable. And it's amazing how many more people you meet, how many connections you make. I mean, my deal with BTC came about because we were on the Toka package last year. We met up with Steve Dubman of BTC last year, just purely because we were on the Toka package. So the fact that we've been racing on there has just opened that door. And if you think about it, if I wasn't racing on the Toka package this year or last year, would I have been in the position I am now? So yeah, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did the deal with BTC come about? A well-established British touring car team. That must be brilliant to be part of such a brilliant British racing team.
It's phenomenal. I keep having to pinch myself. I can't believe that when I'm turning up on a test day and we've got an Arctic turning up from BTC with about 10 people coming to help us. I mean, it's just amazing. I've never had that level of support. It just purely came about because we went to Steve and said, we'd like to move into the JCW Championship next year, and we're looking for a little bit of support. And that was sort of the beginning of it, really. Steve mentioned about his new driver development program that he was hoping to bring into this year, and it just sort of all fell into place. People don't believe us that's how it went, but it was almost as easy as that. I mean, it's been a long time coming. It started, like I said, sort of Alton, Thruxton last year, and it only really came together sort of December time. So it was a long time coming, but yeah, it's just been brilliant. Steve's been amazing. The team have been so welcoming. And yeah, it's an absolute dream come true. I cannot believe how privileged I am to have this opportunity. It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine an aim for you is to get to British touring cars.
That's always been the aim. I think when I started circuit racing at 14, I certainly knew what I wanted to do with my career, and it's always been touring cars. Every time someone says, where would you like to end up, I'd say, well, if I got to touring cars, I'd say I'd sort of made my dreams come true. And being in a touring car team, I've learned so much already. It's been such an eye-opener. I mean, I think we all watch it on a Sunday and we don't get to see what happens behind the scenes. And I've had a little bit of an insight into that. And it's just been phenomenal. And to be involved with that is just amazing.
And BTC had a pretty good day at Thruxton as well, with Josh Cook winning 2 races. What did you make of the races at Thruxton?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, it was very enjoyable to watch, especially when you see BTC sort of 1-2 in race 2. I mean, that's just amazing, isn't it? And I think the whole team were absolutely elated. Obviously, they didn't have an easy weekend, because obviously Jade was very unfortunate in race 2 as well. So it wasn't all plain sailing, but yeah, certainly a fantastic start for Josh, and yeah, brilliant, and certainly flying the BTC flag well, and showing everyone that BTC will be at the front this year, and it's very exciting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, your first race is at Snetterton this year. Is it a circuit you enjoy? It's quite an interesting one. It's quite a long circuit as well.
It's my local circuit, so it's the circuit that I've done the most laps at, which is a bit of a comfort blanket. I mean, it's certainly nothing to do with the JCW, because obviously everything else that I've done around Snetterton is nothing in comparison to the JCW, so it's not that much of a comfort blanket. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's only 4 weeks away, and we've not done too much testing, so my sights aren't set that high. I'm just there to enjoy it and progress, hopefully, and gain more experience. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Cannot wait to get started. Cannot even believe that I'm in this championship. It's honestly a dream come true. So yeah, I'm relishing in every moment, and I'm really looking forward to it.
It must be really rewarding for you guys, who have worked, through the different race championships to now get to the minis, which in my opinion, is such as, as you mentioned earlier, it's such a brilliant championship. It's the racing's ridiculously close, and it was great to have it on the TOCA package or added on last year, because it was everyone liked the Clios, and I'd only ever known the Clios to be on the TOCA package, but I think it's great to have the minis on board as well.
Yeah, it's really refreshing to see something new on the TOCA package. I think people were sort of getting used to seeing the Clios, and it's nice to have a change. And obviously it's such a massive grid, which is also brilliant. And yeah, it's just such exciting racing. I mean, you think it's exciting to watch, but to be involved with and to be in the middle of all that is absolutely amazing. So yeah, really looking forward to it, and it's such a fantastic opportunity, such an amazing platform, and cannot wait to get started.
And I was going to ask actually, what are these cars like to drive? Because from watching on telly, they look pretty lively.
They're absolutely terrifying. I went out in my first go and I came back in, and I think my smile from ear to ear was seen from one end of the pit lane to the other. They are amazing cars. I mean, everyone tells you they're so difficult to drive, and they're not lying. I mean, the torque steer is just unbelievable, and it's something that I've never had to deal with before, so that's a new element. And I mean, at the minute the JCW is definitely driving me. I think it's got the upper hand of me at the moment, so I need to try and tame it, I think. But I think that'll just come with experience and more time in the car. I'm still quite new to it and relatively inexperienced in comparison to everyone else in the grid, so I'm just trying to learn as quickly as possible. I've obviously got a good driver coach in Joe Tanner who's helping me along, and teammate now as well, which is obviously really helpful. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get there, just a bit more time. But yeah, it's definitely, it's something else. It really is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. It's been great to chat. It's so exciting, the new season with the minis, and obviously Snetterton up next. And hopefully the first British touring car event and TOCA event with fans back. Obviously, Snetterton's our local circuit, so we've got our tickets, and hoping we can be there. And we've got plenty to look forward to with the new season. And
yeah, definitely. I cannot wait to have spectators back as well. To go to TOCA rounds last year and have it like a ghost town, it was a bit weird. So yeah, definitely looking forward to spectators again this year and meeting everyone that I've been messaging online. Everyone's been messaging me saying they can't wait to actually see cars go around circuits and not just on TV. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all the best, and yeah, good luck for round one and the rest of the season.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. All right, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you.